guys, Rogway here, and I'm back with another tutorial. Today we're looking at smart objects in Photoshop. We're learning how to make interactive mockups, and this is going to be a short one, but I want to show you this really quick. So we're going to open up an image here that we'd like to use as our mockup file. If you're not familiar what an interactive mockup is, it's basically when we're doing our designs. If we want to show a customer how it's going to look on an actual product before it gets printed, or just to help them visualize, that's where an interactive mockup comes in very handy. So we can see here we've got a picture, and let's say we wanted to mock up what something might look like on the screen of this laptop. All right, I'm going to show you how to make a smart object interactive mockup. And like I said, this is a really neat way of making a mockup that you can easily drop new artwork in, and it's going to update automatically. So first of all, I'm going to unlock the background, get that unlocked, and I'm going to make a new layer. Whoops, just want one. And I'm going to use the shape tool. There's all sorts of different shapes you can use. You can also use the pen tool if you want, but we're going to use the rectangle tool in this case. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a fill color of, let's go with a bright green. It really doesn't matter what it is. But I'm going to use the rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle approximately the size of the screen. So maybe about that big. Obviously it's a little bigger. It's very important the size you start with, because this is going to be the size that it's going to remember when it comes to actually distorting whatever it is you're trying to put on the screen. And that'll make sense in a second. You'll notice that this layer that gets created is a shape layer. You can see that little symbol, that means it's a shape layer. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to convert it to a smart object. Okay, and the way that smart objects work, you'll notice that that symbol changes, is it now remembers this sort of original shape, its orientation, and basically what we've created it at right now. So I'm going to zoom in, just like this, and with the smart object layer selected, I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to do a Distort in this case. I'm going to grab the corners, and I'm going to line up the corners to the corners of the screen, just like this. There we go. All right, and I hit return or enter, and now it has confirmed my selection or my transformation. I could have done anything I wanted to this. I could have added a blending mode. I could have added some effects to this, whatever I want. But the real magic of interactive mockups is not placing a smart object over something. It's actually allowing it to apply those transformations automatically. And so I'll show you what I mean. I've got an image here of a logo that I'm going to use as our mockup image. So I'm going to drag that to Photoshop, and it'll open up in its own tab. It might give me some options. I'll just hit OK. It's fine. And let's say we want to put that logo onto this screen. Now, we could just bring it in and distort it and match it, you know, and do our best to make it look like it belongs on that screen. Or we can use our smart object we just created. Now, the really cool thing about smart objects, you could have multiple smart objects all over the place, and they'll all update at once. So in this case, I'm going to double click this layer, and it's going to say that it's going to we're going to be able to edit the contents. I'm going to hit OK. And you'll notice now it opens in its own tab. It's a PSB file. And now what we can do is we can take this logo and drop it in to this file. I'm going to just press Command T or Control T to transform it, just to increase the size a little bit. And I'm going to go down to this green background, and I'm going to go to Edit. You know what, actually, because it's a shape, I can double click it and just set it to whatever color I want. So I'm going to go white. And when I close this tab, I'm just going to hit save. And what's going to happen is it's going to close, and it looks like nothing changed. But if I go back to the original tab, you will now see that it has automatically updated that smart object for us. Let me just close that one. And at any point, if we want to go and change, if we double click, we can go back in, we can move this around, we can put different artwork, whatever we want. And every time we save this file, it will automatically add those transformations and make it look like it belongs on that screen. All right, well, now we're going to look at how we can actually put these smart objects into use. And I guess in this case, if I was going to present my project to a client or a potential customer, I would probably want to present it in a way that would make it easy to sort of understand how this is going to look across multiple different objects and formats. And so what I've got here, and I already opened it up, is I opened up the logo presentation file that I have here. And you can find these interactive mockups made already all over the internet. But again, using the technique I showed you prior to this, you can make your own quite easily. I'm going to start by installing these fonts. So Montserrat, I'm just going to double click and I'm going to install it because we're going to need it for the presentation file. And so there we go. If you get a warning, it's just because I already have it installed, but I'm going to just do it again anyways. And the file here is logo presentation PSD. If I go switch over to Photoshop here, whoops, I did a bad thing. I stretched my Photoshop instead of opening. Okay, we'll just do that. You'll notice that I've got this file. By the way, I found this file online, so I don't take credit for this file. I modified it a bit, but this file is made by somebody else. But you'll see that this file has some interesting things about it. It's a single page presentation, and you'll see these options here to change this, change this, change this. There's a block here for you to explain your design. There's options here for your color choices, and further down you'll see all these mock-ups that have smart objects already built and ready to go inside each one of them. The beauty of this file is if I'm creating a presentation for somebody to show them this design, all I have to do is update these 3 smart object files, and then this whole file is going to look great. I just have to fill in the information after the fact. So let's start with the original logo. Actually, we'll do all 3, but we're going to start with the original logo. So I'm going to actually double click this smart object to open it up and to get it ready to go before I put the logo in. So there it is. That's the first change this. Okay, so this is the original logo. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up the element logo in Illustrator. Already got it here. And I'm going to make 3 versions of it. Now, depending on the project, you may end up making more than just 3. But you almost always want to show the logo in this case as 3 different versions. So we have the original, and I just selected it by making a selection. I'm going to hold Option to drag a copy up, and I'm going to press Command D to make a duplicate of that. So I've got 3 copies of that logo. The first one here, I'm going to make it a black only version. So with all of that selected, I'm going to just select black here, 0000, okay, and that will make a black version of the logo. And this lower one here, even though it's going to basically disappear, we're going to make it a white only version. So we're going to go here, I can go to the top left corner here, FFFFF, that means it's white, and I'm going to hit OK. So now we've got a black version, we got the original version, and we've got a white version. Okay, this kind of shows the customer how it's going to look across multiple printing surfaces. All right, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go Edit Copy or Command C if you're on the Mac. And now I'm going to go into Photoshop, back to this file where we've got the original logo smart object open. And I'm going to paste it in with Command V. We'll paste it in as pixels. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to go on its own layer in a second here. And I'm going to scale it up. Oops, I'm going to scale it up just like that to cover up the change this. Let's go about the same size. Something like that. I'm going to hit return. And then I'm going to delete the layer called change this, because obviously we don't want to see that text underneath it. So we're going to delete that. Hit yes. And I'm going to close this tab, and it's going to ask me if I want to save. And of course I'm going to hit save. You'll notice now it's updated here at the top, but it's also updated all throughout all of these mockups as well. Okay, because everywhere that smart object is used, it has updated with that logo. Now we can do these two. We got a logo on dark, which is basically a white logo, so let's do that. So change this once again. We're going to go into our Illustrator. We're going to take the white logo. I know you can't see it because it disappears on the white background, but we're going to copy it. We're going to go back to Photoshop and we're going to paste it as pixels. I'm going to scale it up. By the way, to scale it from the center, I'm holding Option. It makes it a little easier to scale it up from the middle out. And then I'm going to hit delete on the lower layer, close this tab and save it. And now we've got our logo sitting on the dark background. The last thing to do here is to put it on the light background. So once again, back to Illustrator. Take the dark one, edit copy, back to Photoshop. Let's double click grayscale logo and paste it in, pixels, and let's scale it up to replace the text and delete the lower layer. Pretty simple. We'll save that, and now you can see we've got all of our elements filled out. Now the nice thing about this particular template, like I said, is it allows us to elaborate sort of on the thought process for the design. It also has these color chips. I'm going to show you how those work really quickly. You'll notice in these folders in your layers, we have a folder called colors, and that's where we would fill that out. Now in this case we don't have 3 colors. You'll notice we've got 3 swatches here, but we only have gray and this kind of golden yellow. So we can turn off color 2 if we want, and that'll leave us just these 2 colors. So let me show you. If I go to this one, which I believe is color 1, yep, I can go in here and easily just double click the color, and using the eyedropper, okay, so I don't know if you saw what I just did. These are color sliders. Okay, so the one that says color for color 1, double click. It turns into an eyedropper. You could set a color, or I could just click the color that's being used. That will automatically set the swatch for that color. Now you notice these numbers here, these are called hex code numbers, and you can find those right here. All right, they're in the bottom of your color picker. And so if I want to fill that out accurately, I can just select that and copy it. Command C, hit OK, and then in the actual text below, right here, I can just paste that in. Now it's supposed to always have that hashtag at the front. Okay, that tells people that it's a hex code. So don't delete the hashtag. Same thing for color 3. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to click the gray. I hope that's it. You got to be careful you don't hit the edge, because then you'll get kind of like a lighter gray where it's kind of mixing with the white. So you got to be careful for that. And then here's the hex code for that. Copy. I'm going to go into my text, and using the text tool, I'm going to select and paste that text in there. All right. And now you can see how quick and easy that was. Really, really quick way of filling this thing out. And I recommend keeping this logo presentation file, because you know, when you're doing design work for multiple clients, obviously they're not going to see what you give to your other clients, so you can keep this and reuse it over and over and over again. And it's really great for printed logos in this case, because it gives them a really good idea of how it's going to look across all sorts of different objects rather than just one mock-up. And like I said, the beauty of it is you can have this thing filled out really quickly. The thing that's going to probably take you the most time is explaining your design. But other than that, it's a really fantastic tool for presenting your designs to your clients. Anyways, that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got through that. Till next time, see ya.